Shalom, Yahweh, Shem Yahshua, Barakatah to the brothers. Shalom, Yahweh, Shem Yahshua, Slakia. Shalom, Yahweh, Shamar, Latham, Shem Yahshua to the sisters. This is Priest and Officer Al Ron out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We are the I.S.U.P.K. under Commanding General Yohanna. We teach that blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the true biblical Jews of the Bible, and the oppressor, white man, is the devil the Bible speaks of. Today, we're going to go over, the title is Ecclesiastes 7:7, which is, and I'm paraphrasing, oppression maketh a wise man mad. And that's, oppression is what most of us don't even understand that we're really being put through. That's what has been happening to us since we've been in this place, place called America, this graveyard called America. But we've been oppressed. And when you become oppressed as a people, you're like basically in survival mode, and you operate in survival mode. And it's not a good way to operate as a nation, because you can't be a nation if you're being oppressed. You can be a nation, but you have to come out of that oppression and understand oppression in order to make it long enough to see Yahweh shall return and get a crown. So we're just going to talk about oppression today. We're going to start out with Ecclesiastes 7:7, and it reads, "Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad." So that right there basically saying you're going to be upset when you find out you're being oppressed, even when you don't know, Salaki, that you're being oppressed, you're going to be upset. You ever bump into, or we all know like old black men that's always mad, you know what I mean? Or even sisters, they're always mad because they're being oppressed. And if you don't understand oppression, you can't really control that anger. You'll be mad, won't even know why you're mad. A lot of TV shows, Good Times, the father was always mad. He came home, he worked all day up under the white man working. He had to put up with his mess. And then when he came home, there was a different set of mess that he had to deal with. Usually somebody had usually his wife had some bright idea, or JJ or somebody had a bright idea, which was really always dumb. He always said no to everything, because not only was he upset, he was the first line of defense, and they can't see, women and children can't see the oppression a lot of times. A woman will damn near go for anything. But he was the first line of defense, and he was always mad. Well, damn right he's gonna be mad. You know what I mean? He's working for pennies. He's overworked. You know what I mean? You know how they are, especially back in the 70s, man. You be late, they'll fire you you late one time, they fire you, man. You got a full family out there. You know what I mean? And, that's a lot of stress, man. Like, damn, I can't be late one time. I understand being a prompt, and yeah, you're supposed to be on time, but shit happens sometimes where you might end up late. And that white man, cruel, man. I've seen it. He's cruel. He has some cruel, still to this day, got some very cruel rules about him and the oppression we go through. That's one thing about Esau, man. Like, there's not another race of people on this planet that is as cruel as he is. And he can turn it on or off. The same ones that are cool, he can be just as nice to you, but then hit a switch, and he's as cruel, especially when it comes down to his money. You don't mess with. They used to say, don't mess with the white man's money. So, but yeah, that oppression is something that really can make you act a certain way, take out frustration on your family, take out frustration on your friends. It can create a mental illness. You get oppressed bad enough. And in this place, blacks, Hispanics, and natives definitely have mental illness. You know what I mean? From the oppression that we've endured in this place for over 400 years. So I'm going to read this again. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. So another thing too, if you're not mad and you walk around here and you're not mad about this oppression, you're not wise, because we're all being oppressed. Yeah, some people think because you got a couple of dollars, you know what I mean, that you're not oppressed. But if you go all the way up the ladder, shit, Kanye West is oppressed. He got money though, but he can't say what he wants. He can't do what he wants. There's always somebody above him trying to tell him what to do. This from another nation of people. You know, he's just not completely free. You know what I mean? So we're going to finish that out, and then we're going to do the definition of oppression too. I want to get to that because just to see what it say. I mean, I'm sure you probably know what it is. Let's look at the definition of oppression. Slovakia. All right, let's look OPPR. Oppression. Definition. The first definition: unjust or cruel exercise of authority or power. So that's, I mean, that's us. You've seen it time and time again. You've seen unjust or cruel exercise of the authority over us. They're cruel. They're unjust. You know, I've heard of people going to jail for, 20 years for stealing minor things. And I'm not saying damn no, you know you're not supposed to steal. I get that. But the penalty has to fit the crime. You can't just throw people in jail for like crazy amount for something small. You know what I mean? And there's other ways of and usually, if you're going to be a thief, and I know some people have problems stealing, but usually if you got it, you ain't going to be stealing a lot of times. You know what I mean? Oppression will back you into a corner, and I'm not justifying stealing because that's against it, but our people have been put in a position where a lot of things, you got to do to survive. And I'm not saying stealing, you should steal because that's against the Most High. But when you have an unjust government or unjust authority over you, I mean, being in the cruel, I'm just using being a thief as one, but there's a lot of different things that we do that is due to our oppression, to what's, us being oppressed. So the first definition was unjust or cruel exercise of authority or power. Then we'll go to B, something that oppresses, especially in being an unjust or excessive exercise of power, unfair taxes, and other oppressions. Second definition, a sense of being weighed down in body or mind. So our mind's definitely been weighed down. I mean, we don't know who our God is. We don't know our identity. That right there is enough to drive anybody crazy. So you're just living, like a heathen. That's pretty sad, to live like a heathen. And that's not how you want to be. So like I was looking at something on my computer. But yeah, we're out here living like heathens. And that's the worst thing you can do, because basically you're following Satan. If you're living like a heathen, you're following Satan. Bottom line. So that's not what we need to be doing. So we're going to go back to this to the scripture. And it says, surely, this is Ecclesiastes 7:7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. So just to say, you mad about everything, you're always upset, you know what I mean? And throughout the year, you being oppressed, then come, holiday season. That's how they get us. They give you a little bonus. You know what I'm saying? Throw you $100 or something, $200. And you say to yourself, well, they ain't too bad. At least they did give give me $200 bonus. That's how we look at things. But it don't, you don't look at it like you've been catching hell all year. You look at it, well, they all right. Nah, they ain't all right. Ain't nobody all right. The only people that's all right is blacks, Hispanics, and natives. You know what I mean? You don't get, oppressed, and then just because somebody do something nice for you, then all of a sudden that person's or those people are all right. No, that's all part of mind manipulation. You know what I mean? Trying to get you to forget about what they've done to you the whole year or the whole 40 years you've been on earth. You finally get a little crumb and now you happy. That happens all the time with us. We get a crumb, especially a promotion. I mean, a lot of times we'd be overqualified for these jobs anyway. It's just you got somebody in the way that, won't, give you the job or something. But most of these jobs, we're the backbone, the mind. We run these jobs. Our mind is, a lot of times we're smarter than the people that are in charge, but for some reason we're not in charge. That's oppression right there. You know what I mean? We got to, work sun up, sun down to make half of what Esau is already making. And it might not even be half. But that gift will destroy your heart. I ain't saying that you ain't supposed to take a gift, but be careful. Don't let it change your mind and you believing that you're not being oppressed. You become a football star, you become a basketball star, and now, he's not so bad. Esau is not all bad. I heard one brother tell me, white man never did nothing to me. He said, when I come out the house, I don't be looking. I look for my own people to. Yeah, that's all. Brainwash. You done been brainwashed to believe that your own people is your enemy. Now I get it. Yeah, you in the hood. You know what I'm saying? He oppressed, you oppressed, and sometimes they don't want to go get money the right way like we do. You know what I'm saying? But you got to understand oppression. That don't make your enemy better than your brother. You never put your enemy over your brother. Your brother, you can, sometimes you just having a dispute with your brother, but when it becomes another nation on another nation, that's like war. You can't do that. So we got to get back. We got to get back to these laws, statutes, and commandments and start following Christ and do what the hell the Most High told us to do in order to get back, where we need to be. Because right now we so far off course. It's pretty sad. Shalakia, let me just check something. Just want to make sure my mic is working. Shalakia. All right, we're going to go to, so it says, Ecclesiastes 7:7, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. And that's what it does. A gift will destroy the heart. It will make you forget about all the hell that you've been put through. So we're going to skip and go to, the next verse. We're going to go to Exodus. Show a little more oppression that we've been going through. And this the oppression we've been going through, this ain't the first time we've been in slavery. So we're going to go to Exodus. When we was in slavery in Egypt, we'll go to 1 and 1. Yeah, we'll start at Exodus 1 and 1. Well, we'll skip down a little bit. We'll start at 1 and 1. And this is basically, this is oppression in another country years ago, thousands of years ago. It's no different than what's going on now. It's just a different time, and it's a different heathen over you. That's all. But it's the same tactics. They use the same tactics on us then. It's the same tactics now. So we're going to read some of this Exodus to show you the little bit of oppression, or a lot of oppression that we've been through and still going through. This is the book of Exodus 1 and 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, verse 2, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Verse 3, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. 4, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all these souls, verse 5, and all these the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. Verse 6, and Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with us. So Joseph was, gone, and they didn't have kids. He had 12 kids. He had a big ass family. Well, he had 12 children. He had a big family, and they all had kids, and they all had grandkids, and all they was tearing fire. You know what I'm saying? In the land. Next thing you know, there's a lot of us. You know what I mean? So, verse 7, and the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Verse 8, now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. This new king said, I don't know that nigga. You know what I'm saying? I don't know him. I think that's how you would say it nowadays. You know what I'm saying? And he said unto his people, this is verse 9, and he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mighty than we. So we didn't got up. We didn't got strong. We didn't, our kids were strong. Our, fathers was doing what they supposed to do. The mothers was taking care of business. They was having children. They was eating good. But the king seen that, you know what I mean? And verse 10, come on, let us deal wisely with them. Now they having a counsel about us. You know what I'm saying? Lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. So, we was being oppressed. Why would the king be worried about us joining an enemy to fight against them? Because that's how they was treating us, like garbage. So we are, they're over us. These Hamites was over us, but they worried about us turning on them and joining their enemy, because that's how they was treating us. And he is paranoid, basically. I'm saying the king got paranoid, like, oh, what's going on here? There's thousands and thousands of them. Damn right. You know what I'm saying? Verse 11, therefore they set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. Look at that. That's what they do now. They put taskmasters over us. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. So all them all like a New York City, Houston, Texas. Like we just come from the Passover in Houston, glorious. Generals and captains and General GEN.YAHANNA, I gotta give him a hand. Well, he puts these Passovers together. I know he gets a lot of help, you know what I'm saying, but he puts these Passovers together. It's something like you could not believe, man. You gotta see it. I'm gonna get down there a couple of days earlier next year and try to get to that the lamb slaughter. You know what I mean? And try to enjoy that and a few other things we missed because we get down there on Thursday. But I'm gonna try to get down there maybe on a Tuesday next year. But yeah, so Slakia, I got sidetracked. So we built the king or Pharaoh treasure cities. You know what I mean? Cities like we have in America. You know what I mean? They put us to work. What's big cities in America? New York City, Philadelphia, Chicago, LA. That's the same thing that was going on in Egypt. We built big cities, all kinds of architecture that you can't even damn explain. To this day, you don't even understand how it was even built. They talking about aliens built it. They can never give us credit for anything. It don't matter. They can have us on video doing it. They won't give you any credit. That's how Esau is. Verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. So the more oppression they put on these people, the more they was tearing fire. You know what I'm saying? And they became stronger and stronger. They was still having children, even with the affliction, all the oppression put on them. They still was having children, still multiplying. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. Verse 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. Okay. And verse 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage. Look at that. Made us bitter, man. Made the bondage, the slavery so rough. So like on us. In mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. So it don't matter if you mopping the floor nowadays, or it don't matter if you driving a bus, driving a cab, or no matter what you do, it's going to be rough. That's how oppressed they were. No matter what job it was, you know what I mean? And that's how they work. They really worked us. I mean, nowadays you might get a little bit of a break. Get a couple of jobs where you ain't got to do much work. But for the most part, these jobs, you're overworked, underpaid. That's the way it is here. And that's how it was in Egypt. Okay. Verse 15. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives. Now, he didn't went to the women. You see what I'm saying? The midwives, like somebody who's like a nurse, or somebody who's delivering the children. Okay. Of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other was Puah. Verse 16, and he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. Now he's trying to get them to kill the men of the Hebrew. Of our men. So why would he want that to happen? Let's keep reading. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. That's weird. Why would you let the daughter live but kill the boy? Because seed is in the male, not in the woman. So if you kill off all the boys, they can't reproduce more of the same. So if you kill off all the black Israelites, you won't get Israelites. You'll get when a woman gets pregnant, they get seed in them. Obviously, you know that. But if there's a Hamite in a woman, then you're gonna have a Hamite seed. So you want to kill off, and this is some cruel shit, right? Slakia. This is very cruel. You want the midwives, the Israelite women, to kill the boy, the sons, and let the daughters live. Good night. But this is Slakia. It says. Verse 17, but the midwives feared God. See, that's what we don't have nowadays in this world. We don't have enough women or men that actually fear God, because they looked at that and said, hell no, we ain't doing that. You crazy as hell. And if we can get back to fearing God, we don't fear God no more in this place. We do not fear God, because if you fear God, you would at least try to follow his laws instead of making up an excuse on why you got to eat pork, making up an excuse on why you have to be a sinner. Christ ain't come down here, man. I don't care what pastor you talk to. I don't give a damn what he say. Don't listen to no stinking Christian pastor to tell you that Christ came down here, died for you just so you can eat a bologna sandwich or a Baconator. That ain't what he come down here to do. So don't ever let and it's the brainwashing is so deep that you'd be sitting there and showing them scriptures, and they'll bring up, and I'm going to get sidetracked, but these big head Negroes will bring up scriptures about whatever sold in the shambles, and a couple other scriptures about dirty hands and things of that nature to justify you eating pork. And those scriptures ain't said nothing about eating no damn pork. But they give these because these people are sinners. The one that you think is not a sinner is the biggest sinner, and that's the Christian pastor. And he teaches his congregation to be a sinner. Now, there's always one or two churches that they say, oh, well, you don't teach that right. If you don't teach them not to eat pork, you're teaching them something. You ain't following the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I mean? But these pastors, man, they have led us down a road. Oh, man, it's so sad. It's so sad. They just sit there and push sin on us. And meanwhile, all you got to do is fear the Most High. You know what I mean? If you fear the Most High, you can get some knowledge. You don't fear him, you ain't going to get nothing. You're going to be in hell. So let's keep reading. Verse 17, this is Exodus 1:17. But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men, children alive. So they didn't listen to him. And they probably knew at the time that they could be killed by the king, by Pharaoh, you know what I mean? Because they ain't following the order. He told them to kill them, and they didn't do it. So that normally, they would be murdered. And I'm sure probably some of them were. I'm not going to teach that because I don't see that in here yet. So verse 18, and the king of Egypt called for midwives and said unto them, why have ye done this thing and have saved the men children? So he wants to know why the hell you ain't do what I told you to do. Verse 19, and the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women. She tried to say, look, we ain't the same. The Egyptian women and the Hebrew women, they different. That's what she trying to say. Look, we ain't like y'all. We ain't, we fear the Most High. Y'all don't. For they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come in unto them. Slakia. Verse 20. Therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. So the Lord liked it, and now the people still multiplied. And it came to pass, the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. Verse 22, and Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. So that Pharaoh was a wicked dude, man. He was a very wicked man. That's no different than an abortion clinic nowadays. You know what I mean? Abortion clinic, they want that to be an option for you to be able to kill your child, but that's not an option. That is murder. You cannot do that. So, but that's part of the oppression we dealt with in Egypt. And, here in America, we got the same type of oppression, if not worse, maybe the same, but it's damn sure bad, very bad oppression. So, let's go to that's a good story that everybody should know. What our midwives, man, you got to get them. It was some good sisters, man, because they saved a lot of male babies who otherwise would have been, killed or thrown in the river or whatever. So let's go to Psalms. Let's go to Psalms 10 and 8. And let's go start at 7. So I might want to start this because there's a lot going on here. Let's see. Let's start at 4. Okay, just to talk about your oppressor. Verse 4. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 10, verse 4. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. See, when you're a wicked person, you ain't going to think of God. For like 4 I was in the truth. I just still had a sense of, Most High, but sometimes you did stuff and just, didn't think about it. Now, before I do anything, and this is just me, and I'm sure it's all the brothers and sisters in the UPK, you think first before you act now, because the last thing you want to do is have the Most High upset with you, or to be a sinner. You don't want to sin, so you want to always make sure. I mean, I have to look on the back of the package sometimes to make sure I'm not eating, because they sneak pork in every damn thing. You know what I mean? They sneak pork. Man, somebody told me pork was in toothbrushes. That he's so diabolical. And some toothbrushes I hear there's pork in them. But I mean, candy, so they get the kids, and some of them gummies, you got to watch those, pork in there, a lot of things like that. Hot dogs, you got to watch, you got to read the back of them. So your thoughts, before you do anything, you have to think of the Most High. You got to think of Christ. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to read that again. Verse 4. This is Psalms 10:4. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in his thoughts. Verse 5. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above, out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. Verse 6. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. Verse 7. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Verse 8. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. That's like sound like the police right there. You sit in a cut, wait for you to, not count to 10 at a stop sign. And we got one. And you know what I mean? They hop on you, and next thing you know, they pulling you out of the car. Instead of just writing your ticket, okay, you ran a stop sign. Write the man a ticket, let him go. It got to go. You got to go all through it, get out of the car and wait for you to get smart with them and this and that. And when the white man, he gets smart with the cop, nothing happens to him. He goes right on home. Black man gets smart with the cop, man, his life is in jeopardy. His life is in jeopardy if he gets smart with the cop. Verse 8, he sitteth in lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. Look at that. So, he might pull you in the alley, kill you. You know what I mean? Guy ain't even do nothing. Or, did something that, something where he just get a ticket. He ends up dead. His eyes are privily set against the poor. See, he don't pick on the rich people. He don't go up to the rich, people. He goes down to the poor where he can write tickets and he can abuse them down there. But the people who got power, who might be a judge, who might have a dad that's a judge, or a dad that's a cop, or a dad that's an attorney, he don't mess with them. They do all the cocaine and everything they need to do. And they come to work high and drunk, and they speed. And if anything happens to them, they don't get killed. The police never kills them. They may take them to jail, but they get out. They get away with it. They got an uncle to call down there. Well, Billy, he's been giving us a hard time. Just give him a break this time, will you? And I'll give you a break this time, but tell him don't come down here like that no more. Okay, no sweat. And he's off the case. He don't go to jail. He goes to jail. Looks like he's going to go to jail. He just stays overnight. And then as soon as he bails out or whatever, and he never goes back to jail. It's all swept under the rug like nothing happens. You know what I mean? Verse 8, he sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. Verse 9, he laugh and wait secretly as a loin in his den, as a lion in his den. He laugh and wait secretly as a lion in his den. Now look at that. What a lion. He sit like that and wait secretly. He's ready to devour something. That's what lions do. They sit and wait. Something come through, He's going to devour it. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. Look at that. See how they pick on the poor. That's oppression, man. You just, what is that? Stop and frisk was oppression. You just pulling people out of anybody. You on your way to work, next thing you know, you say, hey, what's this? What's going on here? Shut up. Bow you in the back. Get you on the ground. You know what I mean? All kinds of stuff. Pour out your potato chips and drink on the ground, whatever. That's all oppression. You on your way to work. Now, how you going to go through? Now, you didn't get oppressed like that, abused on the way to work. Now, you already don't even want to go to work. That make you want to say, well, damn, I'm going home. But you can't even do that. I wish some of these people could live some of our lives, man. Some of these heathens. Verse 9. Yes, like verse 9. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doeth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. So he got a little trap, speed traps, things of that nature. Much more than that, but speed traps, get you to do all kinds of things where he can pull you over, or and I'm just talking about the police. There's other traps that your oppressor sets that oppresses you, child support and things like that. Not saying that all but that is an oppressive thing, child support. So you got child support, not getting paid enough, where as soon as you get paid, all your money goes to your to just a roof over your head a lot of times. You damn near don't have no money for food for 2 weeks too. Like, come on, man. That oppression is something serious. Verse 10, he croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. Verse 11, he hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. So, this oppression is something serious that we've all had to deal with, and then we're all going to have to deal with. But the bottom line is, in order to understand it and really know how to fight against oppression, is one of the main things is brotherhood. And what we have in the school is brotherhood. And that's one of the main things that keep you in the school is brotherhood. And because you'll never see brotherhood like this. You just fall in love with some of the things that happens in the school, and you can tell that the Lord is definitely with the I.S.U.P.K. because we follow God, we teach to follow God's laws. The last thing Black people need is to be taught that you don't got to follow God's laws. I mean, damn, like that we don't need that. We need a head, which is Christ. You know what I mean? We need to be told what to do. We need strict rules, which a lot of the things we do aren't sin. And a lot of the things we do are sin. We need to find out what's right and wrong, because we act like we don't know, which a lot of us don't because of the church. Church don't teach right or wrong. The church just teach bring your tithes and come on in here and do what you really kind of want to do. You know what I mean? Because nobody's perfect. That's what they teach. But in here we teach, you're going to be perfect. Yeah, you're going to be perfect. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's what we expect, you to be perfect. Like Christ didn't say, well, try to be perfect. He said, be perfect as your Father is in heaven. So I'm paraphrasing, but you know what I mean? So it's the men's job to clean this thing up, turn this ship around, and get us to fly straight. You know what I mean? And I know we get sometimes we get a bad rap. People think we hate women. We love women, but we want a woman in her right mind. We don't need it. We don't need any more. We don't need no twerks and nobody who twerks and whores and all that. We got enough of them in the world. We want sisters who want to learn about the Most High and want a husband and want to serve her husband. And we want men who want to serve Christ in this truth. And they're out there, but You got to put down some of the things that's keeping you out of the school. You know, you got to let the weed go. That's another thing. That's another thing that's oppressive. They didn't legal, and that's the last thing. Another thing we don't need is to legalize marijuana. They didn't legalize marijuana. The laws on a lot of this is not as strict anymore, and the kids are just like using it like it's like it's Flintstones, like it's the Flintstones pills. I smell them. Everybody smokes weed. It seems like, and it's really sad because that's the last thing we need to do is smoke weed. That's not the proper medication for a lot of us. We don't need we need law, statutes, and commandments. That's what we need to get our weed ain't gonna do nothing but make you dumb, make you slow, and heart disease, lung cancer, all those type of things. We don't need that type of medicine. Let the oppressor use that. Let them do that. Let us follow Christ. And that's it for today. We'll see you next week. ISUPK.com. Under Commander General Yohanna, we teach the blacks, Hispanics, and natives are the true biblical Jews of the Bible, and your oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. Shalom.